So why organic marketing and how to master attraction marketing? So we're going to talk about what this is, what does it even mean? Why does it matter today and how to implement it step by step? I'm going to guide you through the journey from the concept to execution while helping you to avoid common pitfalls. And we're going to talk about why. Like consumer want authenticity. They want real value. They want genuine connections rather than just traditional advertising. The trust factor right now is very low because a lot of people are not putting themselves in the best way forward. So that's why organic marketing allows you to bypass this ad fatigue, to create this trust with your audience and create sustainable growth for your business. So with that, I will get started. My name is Miri L, by the way. I work with a lot of different service-based industries. So what I'm showing you today, it's exactly what I do with my clients. These are things that are out there in the wild, let's say, okay? So first, let's define what is attraction marketing, okay? This is a marketing method that naturally attracts your ideal audience by offering valuable content instead of using paid advertising or direct selling. It's value driven because the content educates, entertains, inspires, and solves real problems for your audience. And it's relationship based because it builds real connections and trust with your ideal customers over time. It's not just about making a sale, it's about creating this relationship that is going to allow you to go beyond that first sale or beyond getting people on your leads. CRM, it's really to create and to see that person as a person, not as a number, okay? It also allows you to be authentic because genuine interactions create loyalty and they strengthen your brand presence. That means that showing up as yourself, not as somebody who you have to be or who you have to pretend to be. A lot of times we see, especially on social media and other types of marketing, people that just show up not being themselves because they think that that's going to get them clients, it's going to get them virality, it's going to get them followers, and people are so worried about going viral on social. People think that you need to be somebody else that people want to see. So you really want to be authentic and be yourself. If that means that you need to show up for yourself with a hat because you like to wear hats, even if it's not professional, quote unquote, if that's your brand, then that's what you do because that's you. It's kind of taking a look at what you do on a day-to-day basis. How do you dress? How do you talk? Who do you contact to, go out for coffee? Who are your friends? This is who you are. And having that genuine interaction online, it's the same as having that interaction offline. So you're basically taking yourself from who you are as a person and bringing it over to the online world. Okay. So that creates loyalty and that strengthens your brand presence, which is one of the most important things that you can really do. Another thing that's important is consistency. It's not just to just post something or have a video or a reel that where you're just showing up yourself. It's also to do it on a regular basis. If you cannot post every single day, if you can't send an email every single day, and we're going to talk about what types of marketing really falls into attraction marketing. If you can't do that every day, that's okay. Just make sure that it's consistent. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe it's once a week. Maybe it's bi-weekly. Whatever the case may be, it's important to have that regular engagement that's going to build the familiarity and trust over time. You don't want to just ghost people, right? You want to make that connection, okay? So in simple terms, attraction marketing is a method that naturally draws your ideal audience by offering valuable content instead of using paid advertising or direct sales techniques. Think of this as trading time for money. Because a lot of times when it comes to marketing, if you want to grow really fast, and you have millions of dollars to spend on paid advertising, that's great. Do that because that's going to get there faster. But for most of us, we don't have $1 million for ad spend. So that's why we need to trade time for money. It might take a little bit more time to get to where you want to get to, but it's going to work because that is you're going to attract your ideal audience in an organic or a free in a free way. Okay. So let's go into why choose organic marketing. If I can just spend money and get my ideal audience to buy from me, why don't I just do that? Well, the problem with paid ads is that nowadays paid advertising can really provide immediate visibility, but it has some challenges. And some of those challenges include the rising cost with diminishing returns. Ad costs are constantly increasing, and the effectiveness of ads can decrease over time due to ad fatigue. And not only that, once you start with paid ads, which most people use Meta ads or Google ads, a lot of times you need to train the algorithm, you need to train Meta or wherever you're putting these ads to get the right customer. And that is going to involve a time period where it's learning about who you want to target. So because of that, it's going to take time to be able to get to the person that you want to get to. So, and I'm not just talking about $1,000 or 2,000. It can be costly, maybe 5,000, 10,000, even 20,000, to really get the right people to talk, to connect with what you have to serve. So that's why that is a big challenge for most small businesses. There's also a decline in consumer trust in advertising. Consumers are becoming more skeptical of traditional advertising methods. And I don't know about you, but if you're on social media, if you're reading a blog or a newsletter, there's always going to be ads. And marketers are getting really good at hanging out where people are hanging out because that's what you're supposed to do. But that also comes with a challenge that people are not trusting anymore. People know that it's an ad. When it says sponsored above, you know that somebody's going to sell you something. So people are not trustworthy as much as we were before. So because of that, um, it's a big challenge for paid advertising because you're not having that trust factor play into things. Whereas organic marketing, it's all about trust and it's all about connections, which is a big keyword in here since we're trying um, to sell something, to give something of service. So trust is a really big word here because if people want to buy from you, you need to make sure that they can trust you first. Okay. Another challenge is that people are skeptical of traditional marketing. People are more likely to trust people who are or coming in your organic content because they're educating, they're entertaining, it's recommendations, and they come from peers most of the time that paid promotions. So because of these challenges, and obviously I'm sure there's more, their paid ads it's a big problem, especially for small businesses who are looking to or attract their ideal target market, and they don't want to spend all of this money that you're going to burn pretty much until Meta recognizes the person or Google recognizes the person that you want to draw to you. Okay, so obviously Meta and Google, which are the two big giants when it comes to paid advertising, they work differently. Google is more a type of marketing where people are searching for information, but then it becomes a bidding war into who's at the top of the sponsored ads based on the keywords. Whereas Meta, it's more about interrupting the scroll. How do you get people to stop so that they can listen and they can hear your advertisement, right? So that's the reason why organic marketing doesn't play into any of this. All right. And don't worry, we're going to answer some questions at the end. So please write them down and we'll talk about them at the end. All right. Now let's talk about the benefits of this organic approach because it offers several advantages, making it a smart choice for long term. First of all, it's cost effective. There's very little cost or no cost at all. Maybe you have to spend money on the tools that you're using to create the content. Maybe you need to spend money to house the emails that you're going to be having from your audience, like a CRM or an email service provider. But it's a cost not to drawing your leads. It's a cost that you're going to need to use either way, whether you do paid advertising or not. So It's cost effective because it relies on creating valuable content, which reduces their reliance on expensive ad campaigns. So again, the cost is really going to come down to the tools that you use, not necessarily the money that you're putting into these platforms in order to get your leads. It builds long-term brand loyalty. So you're providing the value, you're providing the relationships, and organic marketing has that customer loyalty because you're showing up again on a consistent basis. And it's not just one ad that people see, it's a whole profile, it's a whole website, it's a whole email series of things that you're showing people so that you can build that relationship. And here the keyword is relationship, because it's all about creating that two-way connection. So you're not just putting stuff out there and hoping for the best. You're creating that relationship. And I'm going to show you how that works in a little bit. But this is a key benefit of organic marketing. Sustainable growth is not depending on an ad platform. And again, it's about having consistent traffic and consistent engagement. And it's independent of anything that you do for an ad platform and for the algorithm. It's sustainable. It's not depending on how much money you're spending. And then once you run out of money, then you're done. And then if you didn't get to your goals and you didn't make the money, that's too bad. It's sustainable because it's on a regular basis. You're showing up online. You're creating that connection that you want to connect with your leads, your customers, or your clients. And there's less risk for algorithm changes. No matter what happens, there's always going to be algorithm changes, or there's going to be updates, or there's going to be whatever the case may be when it comes to organic marketing. But one thing is always going to stay the same, which is the engagement, the relationships that you're building. And this goes back to before we even had online options. If you go back hundreds of years, how did people make sales? By connecting with people. So it goes back to that same principle, but now we're moving that online and we're doing it strategically so that you can really provide and a good service or a good information in a faster and more efficient way than having to create meetings, hundreds of years ago that you needed to create that, or different types of connections that existed back then. So pretty much no matter what happens with the algorithm is always, always, always going to favor the connections, the presence, the engagement. No matter what happens with it, it's always going to be there, okay? So you're not going to be affected by any of these algorithm updates, more so than with paid advertising, because if you remember a few years ago, and if you don't know this, there's been a war between privacies, the whole notion of privacy. So Google and Apple and Meta, they're all fighting this fight as to who has access to the privacy. So Meta used to have this whole thing and whole platform where you can pick people who had maybe a high economics zip codes in the US, or you had an option of people who they were following, like Tony Robbins, or if you were interested in sports. They had all of these things that were incredible because you can really create a persona based on the things that they were interested in. But because of this privacy issue, they had to take that away. And while it is still efficient, you don't have that option anymore. So a lot of things are going to be changing all the time. But one thing is always going to stay consistent, which is that connection and that relationship that provides with organic marketing. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go into understanding your organic marketing journey. And organic marketing, again, we're talking about social media, we're talking about email marketing, we're talking about anything that is organic, that is free to use so that you can create and have more sales. So this is kind of the customer journey, and we're going to do a quick little thing in a few minutes. And it comes down to understanding your ideal audience. You want to define exactly your customers' demographics, their interests, their needs. And we're going to use tools like Answer the Public and Google Trends to research what they're searching for in just a little bit. But this is the most important thing that you can do because you need to know what they want. You can't create reels or videos or emails if you don't know who they are and what they want. If you talk to everybody in the world, you're talking to nobody. So you need to define them. What is their name? Maybe their name is her name is Sarah. She lives in Idaho and she has a farm. Like getting specifics to what does her day look like. If you can write a diary of your ideal audience, you can actually know them better than they know themselves. And that's where you want to get to, because you need to know exactly what they want so that you can understand how to target them. What information do they need? What do they need help with? Okay, so we're going to do a quick little thing that I want to do with you. This is Answer the Public. If you've never been to this site, is a great place to find what it is that people are searching for. And here at the top, you have options of looking in Google, Bing, YouTube, TikTok, Amazon, and even Instagram, okay? So we're gonna do Google just to try it. You get 3 free searches per day. So I haven't used any of them. But let's say you're a dog trainer, okay? So we're gonna do dog training. And we're looking here. You can actually look for your country. There's different countries here. If it's not there, it's all the way at the bottom, okay? And you can also search for the language of people. What are they searching for? And this is going to allow us to understand what are people looking for in our niche, in our market. So if I'm a dog trainer or I have a business in dog training and I need to understand what do people want, you can simply do this. You can search for it as a keyword, and it's going to take a little bit of time to load, but basically it allows you to get very specific as to what people are asking for. So here are questions that start with why, will, are, can, how, and it goes in even deeper. If you look at the indicators, the very bright orange is highly searched, and it goes into the lowest search that is a little bit less. And not only that, these numbers right here allow you to see what it is. Obviously, I need to upgrade, but it allows you to see what it is that people are searching for when it comes to paid advertising. So like right here, it's $4.24 to when people are searching the who. And that gives me an idea how much am I going to have to spend on Google to really get to dog trainings. But because we're doing this organically free, here are some questions that people are looking for. Are dog training colors humane? Like what? Like people want to know things about dog training that starts with the letter R. Then we can go to can. Can dog training help with anxiety? Can dog training help with aggression? This can be content right away. And you can do a whole video, post, blog, article, anything with this because you know that people are looking for this. Okay. And again, these are just some examples. How dog training works. Look, this is actually something that people want because there's $1.25 of the bidding war that I was mentioning that we don't have to worry about because we're doing organic marketing. But this is a great example to show you that, yeah, you can actually do videos, content, and whatever you want to do on this. How does it work? What does it cost? When to use it? So many questions that we can ask. If you want to upgrade, you can upgrade and get more information. But to me, this is even enough. Now we can go into the prepositions and we can find more information about how people are looking for when it comes to things about dog training. Look, dog training for aggressive dogs, that's something that gets searched 22,000 times and it's $6.31. So this is great because we know that we can use this organically and it's probably something that people are searching for, that people want to hear about. And then if we keep going down, here are some comparisons as to and versus, so dog training off versus down, dog training positive and negative reinforcement, dog training and boarding. So there's all of this information that you can really find out. And then again, you have alphabeticals when it comes to dog training. So this is great because it's giving you so much information about the market that you're in, and it allows you to find, it goes all the way to like numbers, dog training at 8 weeks, at 8 months, so that you can find the information that you need in order to understand the content that you need to create, and in order to understand the person that is behind, who is your market, okay? And again, you can do this on Google, you can do this on Bing, YouTube, TikTok, Amazon, and Instagram. Instagram is a new one as well. So it's all based on keywords that will allow you to find the information. And look, with each one has, their hashtags, their people, but this is great again because allows you to get a glimpse into what type of information you want to put out there for your target market. And then if we look at Google Trends, Google Trends is a great tool because it tells you what people are interested in. So if you remember, Pokemon Go used to be an important topic a few years ago, and I think it's coming back. But if we look at Pokemon Go, we can compare it with people. Look, in the United States, let's look at the past 5 years, and you're gonna see the difference into the interest over time. But let's compare here AI, the search them AI, and you're going to see the difference between how people were searching for it in 2022, where it actually took off. And not only that, you can search for, any country that you want. And here are some other categories based on the market that you're in. And then here, let's do organic marketing. It allows you to see at a glance, what are people really looking for? Look, organic marketing, nobody's searching for because it's not very well known. But if we want to talk about, let's say, marketing, you're going to see that yellow line come up a little bit more. See? And it's been constant. So here we have an example of AI, which is a term that people were, and this is in the past 5 years, that people were looking for very rarely in 2022, where it took off was in 2023, in April of 2023, and it keeps going up. Marketing is something that hasn't changed. It goes up and down a little bit, but it's still the same. And then Pokemon Go was something that started and had a big glimpse for a bit, and then it went down. So all of this to say that doing this type of research is going to help to understand the key concepts that people are searching for on the internet, because if you go down here, you have more information about the market. So look, this is more specific. ChatGPT, Midjourney, types of queries that people are having. And then here we have different types of what are people searching for in marketing. So all of this helps to understand your market, to kind of find out what are people looking for based on the demographics, because you can also go to any of these sites and look for specifically, in Idaho, where Sarah lives, what are people looking for? And it's going to allow you to create that content that people want to see. A lot of times we think that we know what our audience wants because we have constant communication with them, but we don't look at the big picture, and we don't look at what is it really that they're looking for. Like, what are they typing on their computer to find out? Okay, so that's why it's ideal that you find that ideal audience, that you find exactly what they're looking for. And then the next thing is identify the relevant channels. So let's select the best platforms for your audience, whether it's email marketing, blog posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, social media platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, wherever. So I'm going to quiz you on this, all right? Let's say that I am a dog trainer. What would I do? Should I do more videos on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or should I do more blog posts on my channel? And I want to see if you guys are paying attention. Just send it in the chat. I think you're able to send them to me. If not, send it to Dr. Valsin. I want to see, should I do more videos? Should I post them on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or should I do more blogs? What do you think is the best way to approach this? Because obviously organic marketing is everything, right? So what do you guys think? Dr. Valsin? Okay. Undo fast.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a call from our specialist, Miss Miri L, as to whether you believe you should go this way or that way if you need information about dog training. So go ahead. Thank you, Stelio, that believes that we should do videos. Bame thinks the same way, do more video. That's what he wrote. Some other messages, more video, and post them on social media. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a test from our presenter to see how your attention span was, how you paid attention to her very, very beautiful and meaningful, interesting presentation on organic marketing. I think that is Agostino. I think it's better. You should do more videos and post them in social media. I think everybody, Ms. Linoff, is saying the same thing, which
That's
is
great.
an indication that they were indeed paying attention.
That's awesome. So the
Yeah.
reason why I asked Dr. Valsin is because a lot of times people don't know. And this is just a
Yes.
very basic example. So we're going to get into what do I do? There's so much out there, right? There's Facebook, there's TikTok, Pinterest. Oh my gosh, I can't forget
Yeah.
Pinterest. Pinterest is great. So that's why I wanted to ask you to see, you know, how do you determine what you need to do? Do I do a blog? Do I do a, there's now something called Substack, which are basically types of blogs like in Medium. Um, so, and there's podcasts as well. So anything that has to do with a demonstration, something that needs an explanation, then definitely you want to do videos. And as a side note, videos is one of the best ways to engage with your audience. If you've noticed in the past year or two, Instagram used to be a platform where you just had to have a static post, and that was enough. But now it's becoming more and more showing you videos. Why? Because that's what people engage with. All of these platforms, their number one goal is to keep you in the platform. That's why when you click on a link, it's gonna take you somewhere else. It's going to ask you twice, are you sure you want to do this? Do you really want to leave Instagram? Because they want to keep you in their platform. That's the number one goal, because if you're there, they can show you more advertising, they can connect with more people, and that's their whole point, right? To keep them engaged. So the reason why I wanted to ask you guys this is because there are so many channels, and we're going to get into more specific ones in the next slide, but we need to keep in mind, where do I put all this? How do I do this? So you're right, videos is one of the great ways, for example, for dog training. But if, let's say, you're an artist, maybe you need to show your art in a Pinterest board, because that's more for creative people. Or if you're selling things for a party, like decor, people want to see that. You can do videos as well, but Pinterest is probably your best friend. So understanding what channels you need to be on is as important as understanding who your ideal market is and what do you actually post. And then the next step is creating that attractive content. To develop that educational, entertaining, or inspirational content that is going to resonate with your audience's needs and interests. So it's not just to know what that is, it's actually to make it pop, to make it interesting enough that people are going to stop and that they're going to want to see, oh my God, this is incredible. I need to hear more. And that is the key, to understand each relevant channel, which we're going to go into in a second, to know how do you create this attractive content. Okay. So here are the types of channels, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this because each one is different in its own way. So email marketing is more direct and more private communication. And sorry, I forgot the C over there. I just realized. So when you talk about email marketing, is people opting into your list. I'm not talking about sending them cold emails, because the whole point of email marketing is for people to have that information to come into your space, so that you can send them information about your service, educational things about that they might need to know. Again, these are channels where you're not selling 100% of the time. Maybe you're selling 20% of the time, but you want to get out there and you want to show important things about why it is that I need to do email marketing. So email marketing is a very, very key type of content. That's actually where your highest ROI is going to be located. People attribute email marketing to more than 0.5% of their sales. It's 50% of their sales, because it's more direct. And the next one is social. Oh, I forgot to change the redes sociales. I apologize for that. But basically, the next one here is social networks, where you can have direct conversations with people and have viral content. Nowadays, it's not important how many people you have on your profile. It's more about how many people are seeing your content, because these social networks whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, they're all sharing content to people that are not your followers. So you can have 30 followers in your account, but you can have thousands of views in your reels. And that's not uncommon. It's because these social networks want to keep people engaged, and they're going to show different things to different people, not necessarily from people that you're following, but from the content that you're watching. The algorithm is very smart in understanding what you want. So, for example, I have somebody who told me, I sent all of these dog videos to my sister the other day, and all of a sudden, TikTok thinks that I'm interested in dog videos. And I told her, well, it's because you're sharing it. Sharing it is one of the most important things, and it's like points. If you share it, you get maybe 10 points, which is a big one. If you like something, you get maybe 1 point. So the algorithm is measuring and getting to know what type of content you want to watch. So, and it might be dog videos of cute dogs, but maybe you're not interested in dog training. So it's completely different types of content. It's not just all types. So that's why it's important that when you're on these social networks, don't look at the followers that you have. Talk about the content that you're putting out there, and eventually they will become followers. And another important thing is you want to start conversations. It's not enough to just post something. It's also important to create that conversation and to get to know people in a deeper way so that you can actually get to know them. And you want to know them not just because you want to sell them something, but because they can also be partners, collaborators, affiliates to connect you with different people, or maybe you need a service that they can offer, or maybe they have something that is important, that is maybe a software that you can use. So if you go into organic marketing thinking that you're going to make a sale every single time, you're doing it wrong. Organic marketing is to get to know people, to see if there could be a good client, partner, or whatever, but it's not about selling right away. If you go in there and you sell right away, people are not even going to answer you. You want to get to know them. And the whole point of this is to have a funnel of knowing what is the next step for them. If your next step for your clients is to join your email list, great. Then ask them for their email so that you can send them emails about your course, about your service, or whatever it is. If your next step is to get them on a Zoom call so that you can sell them your services, then you need to have that very clear in understanding what is it that I want to do. If I want to get them on a call, I need to ask questions to get to know them, to see if they're even potential clients or partners or whatever it is. So having that in mind is going to allow you to know the types of channels and the types of content that you have to put out there. Then we have SEO with blogs, and it's content that is very detailed, is very optimized so that you can come up in Google searches. But most importantly is to provide that service and to educate and to entertain. Again, it's all the same in a different type of format. Then we have YouTube, and YouTube, I didn't put it as a social channel because YouTube is a search engine as well. So when you need help in finding out how do you do something, you go on YouTube because it's visual content that explains a topic. So that's why it's on its own. And typically, up until recently, YouTube used to be more about long form videos, and now they also have YouTube Shorts. But it's still all the most, I should say, most of the content creators know that they're gonna get paid from YouTube when they post long form videos, because if you know, YouTube has an amazing partner program where you create YouTube videos that have a large view, and if they have a lot of views, they get paid based on what YouTube shows them. So if you do a lot of YouTube shorts and you get a lot of views, in the millions, yeah, you're gonna get paid. But most people focus on YouTube long form video to get paid. So they're gonna create more of long form videos than short form. Short form is more to get people subscribed to your channel, whereas long form is more to get that money from YouTube, not only to sell your services, but also to get money from YouTube as well. And then podcasts are conversations. It's like the radio from a long time ago that used to be podcast, and now we have a specific category for them, but it's basically about audio. So it's important to identify the most relevant channels for your audience and for your type of business, like we talked about. Each platform has its own advantages and optimal formats. So whether they're educational, entertaining, or inspiring, they all have to have that. You also have, for example, X It's more about there's not so much video on there. So you need to know exactly where you need to go so that you can create that content that really attracts, and you can repurpose the content. So if I created a video, now with AI, I can go and get the transcript and have AI rewrite it as a blog, as an article. You can also batch the content creation all in one day and have these AI tools like Synthesia, ChatGPT, Creatify AI, all of these different tools that allow you to create. If you have one piece of content, it can actually go out to all of them at the same time. And that's where you're going to really, really be strong in organic marketing, because again, it's not just posting something and contacting someone. You can post the same video everywhere. That's number one. Then you can take that video and create an article or a blog. Here we go. Then we check that off. Then we can go on email marketing and create an email for our audience so that they can go check out our video and even send them more information there. And then we can go and have a podcast and have AI or yourself record it, whether it's a 10-minute podcast or you ask to be a guest on somebody's podcast about the same topic, and boom, with one piece of content, you have pretty much taking it everywhere in every single way. Again, but it depends on where your strengths are, right? So we talked about dog training and how that you would want to create a video from that. That should be your number one priority, but that doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of AI and use it everywhere else, because if you put it everywhere else, it's going to allow you to exemplify your content and to have a lot more reach that way, even if it's not the number one priority. Okay, now let's go into the next slide, which is building your content strategy. And I'm gonna leave time for some questions, so we're almost done, guys. So building your content strategy, there are simple ways to plan your content. You can create a weekly or monthly content calendars to organize your publishing schedule and to maintain that consistency that is so important. You can also batch content creation and produce multiple pieces of content in one session to maximize your efficiency so that you are consistent on a regular basis, okay? The importance of consistency comes again, because again, we have to do this on a weekly, bi-weekly, even daily, whatever you want to do, but make sure that it is consistent, okay? And there's quick ways to automate posting like Buffer, Hootsuite, Later, all of these different types of platforms that allow you to automate and to schedule posts. There's thousands of scheduling platforms out there that allows you to be consistent. But again, we can be posting everywhere, but you really need to make that effort and connect with people and engage with people. Send people messages so that they know that, just checking on them. Hey, I was just checking on you. I really like your content. Don't go in there asking for the sale right away, because again, this is very important to create that community, to create that those people that are going to be your fans or your partners, and they're going to be supporting you. You want to respond promptly to comments, to create polls, to foster those genuine interactions and build a loyal community. And if you remember, there's a lot of things out there to create communities. We're going to go into those in a second, but this content strategy, it's going to allow you to be consistent. And that's exactly what we want, right? We want to make sure that we know exactly who we're talking to. We know exactly what is the content that we're going to use. You can be omnipresent everywhere, or you can create specific content for specific platforms where your people are hanging out. And you, again, the goal is to get people in your emails, to get people in your next step, which maybe it's a call with you, so that you can take them out of that platform and have a more direct relationship with them. So this strategy, building out your content, which is the planning, creating the information, the content, scheduling and engaging, is going to allow you to take it to the next step. Okay. All right, so how do you build communities? Because the whole point of it is to be engaging, to have that genuine interaction. So when you encourage genuine interaction in your comments, when you answer and you like posts and you answer people in the surveys and their stories or whatever it may be, you're encouraging this interaction because it's going to invite them to a reflection and to dialogue with you. It's not a one-way street, it's a two-way street, okay? So you want to make sure that you respond promptly and authentically. And then we also have private groups, and you probably have seen them in Facebook, on LinkedIn. There's also a lot of other platforms nowadays like School, that's where people are creating communities where you can connect more intimately and you can send people messages. But again, the types of messages that you want to send out are first to screen them, to get to know them, and to then see what would be the next step for them to take. So all of these private groups are incredible because there's so much information in there. You can actually get a lot of different ideas for posts and content by visiting these private groups of your audience. Even if you don't connect with anyone, that would allow you to really see how they think, who they are, what they do, and to be able to cater the content to them and to get quick answers. You really want to show your commitment by responding and to get to know them in a deeper way. I was working with a multi-million dollar person who does a lot of marketing, and even he had 2,000 students in one launch, and he has multiple launches per year. And the cost was like $5,000 to get into this group. So I was working with him, and I realized that he's actually messaging people privately. And to me, that was a big surprise, because he's doing all of this paid advertising, organic marketing, he's everywhere. But not only that, it's important for him to connect with people on a deeper level. And I'm telling you, this guy is so big. You probably know him if I say the name, but I don't want to mention it. That he was actually connecting with people on private DMs. So you can never be too big to connect with people on a deeper level and to get to know what they want and to get them to either make the sale or find out what it is that happened, that they didn't buy the product. So that will allow you to really show that commitment. But again, nobody is too big to be able to do this. And it's important to build that community wherever you want. It doesn't have to be a private group that you have. It can be just the messages that you have, and you create your own fan club in a way. So I hope that made sense. This is really a big thing when it comes to organic marketing, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be commenting on your post. We're going to be buying your services. We're going to be connecting you with people that you want to talk to. And it's amazing because they can be everywhere. They don't have to be in your backyard like it used to be a few years ago. Okay. So how do you do this? How do you get them to go from a stranger to a loyal customer? Well, first you need to discover who are these potential customers and how can you create that helpful content through search or social media or email marketing. Then they join your list with email marketing to receive more valuable content. And I'm gonna throw a statistic out there that not a lot of people know. When it comes to social media and email marketing, the average open rate is between 20 and 30%. Okay, so that means that people that actually open your emails is between 20 to 30% of the people that you send the emails to. But when it comes to social media, remember I told you that social media is not just showing your posts and your videos to your followers, it's showing them to everybody. So 3%, 3 to 5% of your followers are actually watching your content and consuming your content. So what does that tell you? Well, it's great to be on social media. It's great to be in these organic channels, but the whole point is to bring them into your list. And what happens if these 20 to 30% of people, they open it? That's great. But what about the rest? Well, they're still going to see your name because they were deciding not to open the email. So it comes into like an 85% of brand awareness, so that the 85% of the total sends are going to see your name, and they're going to see the subject line and the preview line in your emails. So if you look at your phone, you're going to see or if you go into your emails, you're going to see that there's a sender name, the subject line, and the preview line. Those three things are super valuable because even if they don't open that email, which is about 85%, if not more, even if they don't open it, they're still going to see it. So that really beats out social media with the 3 to 5% of the people of your followers that are actually going to see your content. So that's why it's important to bring them into your world. And there we go again. Consistent value builds trust and regular engagement. Ask them questions on email, reply, to have polls, create that engagement so that then you can lead them into your conversion, which is based on the established trust. And you want to have a call to action that's going to take them to the next step, whether it's to attend a webinar, to buy your course, to book a consultation. You want to lead with value, sell 20% of the time, and offer value 80% of the time. And here are some common mistakes to avoid. Again, we talked about selling too much. That's why we have to lead with value first. And then you can sell indirectly. You want to focus on the problems rather than pushing out your products. You want to listen to your audience, regularly gather the feedback through surveys, comments, direct engagement, and get to know them. We talked about all of these different platforms where you can get to know your audience, but actually do the listening part. It's not just to go out there and find the information, do the listening part. That's really going to help you. Inconsistency in posting, this is by far the number one mistake. Do it consistently, whether it's twice a week, whatever the case may be, do it regularly so that you can schedule the content. It's very, very important that you that you take this into account, because obviously engagement is important, but people need to see your information and your content. And you want to be everything to everyone? No, define your specific niche and speak directly with your targeted relevant content. And obviously you want to measure success, right? Because how do you know, if this is working? Well, there's engagement metrics, whether they're likes, comments, and shares. Remember, we talked about a point system that the algorithm kind of uses. That's very important. And all of this is shared in the social media platforms. You don't have to go out of your world to really find it. The email growth rate, how many people are joining your list with all of these efforts, your website traffic and your conversions, that can be very easily measured by Google Analytics. It's free. And all of this, again, we're talking about a strategy that is free, that you don't have to pay anything, maybe just on the tools. But even that, it's very little to no cost. And you want to adjust the strategies based on your data, based on your call to action. If your call to action is to get them on a call, well, then that's important to know, because you need to see how many people were actually converted to get on a call. And then once they got on a call with you, what was after that? So if you measure success, you really want to look at the metrics that are going to get you to that success. Okay. And here are some tools that are great for organic marketing. I'm going to actually put them in the chat. We talked about Answer the Public. We talked about Google Trends, but here are some AI tools as well. That Pika.art is great. Canva, you guys are probably familiar with it. And here I think I can send them to everyone. Yeah. Here. So we have research tools like we talked about. We did that together. Content creation with Notion AI and ChatGPT. Synthesia also allows you to create video creations without appearing on camera. Visual design, the Pika.art in Canva. 7th Sense is also for email optimization. Fathom is for meeting insights and content ideas, and all of the other stuff. I mean, there's thousands of them, but these are just a few that I've used that are great. And how do we put everything into action? Again, this is just a quick summary. Identify your ideal customer. Choose one main channel. If you want to be omnipresent, that's fine. You can do that with AI. But if you don't have the time or the energy, just choose one main channel. Commit to be consistent. And remember that